Now, here's the latest in agriculture news from the Rural Radio Network.
We're joined now by Nebraska Farm Bureau President Steve Nelson. Steve, on Monday, you made the announcement that you will not be seeking re-election to the role as president later this year. Tell us about some of those factors that went into that decision.
Sure. Well, probably it goes back to when I initially ran for president, an idea that serving 9 years was kind of the right time. My predecessor, Keith Olson, served 9 years, and I thought that was a pretty good example. One thing that I've also said all along is I love farming. I love to farm with my son, and we enjoy working together. And so didn't want to miss some of the opportunities to do that. And I have young grandchildren now that I want to spend more time with. And so those factors kind of have been there and part of the decision making all along. And so really leads me to this being the right time to do this, not just for myself, but for Nebraska Farm Bureau.
I want to go back for a moment, Steve, to 2011 when you decided you were going to run for the role as president of the largest farm organization here in the Cornhusker State. Walk us through that decision and what you remember from those days.
Sure. Well, I'd been on the board for over 10 years at that time, and I'd back up a ways to when I first ran for the state board of directors. It was something that I thought would be a good thing to do, something that I thought I could do, but I really didn't have a goal or an idea or an objective to become president of Nebraska Farm Bureau. But as time went by and became vice president first, and the opportunity seemed to be lining up to make it work. We have an expectation that the president of Nebraska Farm Bureau is a full-time farmer and rancher. And in order to do the job and be gone a lot from the farm, you have to have someone at the farm that can take care of things while you're gone. And so that's something we talked about at home. And our son Scott runs the operation there, has done an outstanding job and really made it possible for me to do this. So that was a lot of the reasoning that went into it, and the opportunity to serve farmers and ranchers and speak on behalf of farmers and ranchers. Certainly a great opportunity and something that I've always not only enjoyed but taken very seriously.
As you look back on your 9 years of serving as the president of this organization, what are going to be some of those memories that stand out the most? A story or two you want to share that are really vivid for you?
Well, I'm not sure if there's any one thing that stands out. I think in addition to the things I've already talked about, the opportunity to represent farmers and ranchers around the world on trade missions. I've had the opportunity to travel with more than one governor many places around the world and to represent and promote the products that we raise here in Nebraska. It has just been really, really a great opportunity and something that I've enjoyed very much and something that I think is very important as well. And so the highlights, well, there are many. Certainly those trips to promote Nebraska products would be high on the list.
Remind us how the process works. Of course, first Vice President of the Nebraska Farm Bureau, Mark McCart, visited with him. I have to think he'd be interested in this role, but remind us of the election process come December, what that will look like.
Sure. Well, the President and Vice President of Nebraska Farm Bureau are elected at large. As I said earlier, requirement is that you be a full-time farmer and rancher, farmer or rancher. I guess you could be both. And certainly, one of the things that I'm proud of is that we have a number of people within the leadership of the organization who would be well qualified to be president of the organization. I know Mark is one of those, and so we will have an election in December. My assumption is that there'll be multiple candidates for that spot, and so that's how it works. We don't have term limits on. I could have run again, but again, the timing I believe is right for us to have new leadership at Nebraska Farm Bureau, and so there'll be elections as we always have at our annual meeting, and so that's something that we'll look forward to, and I think look forward to some changes in the future.
I want to round out the interview, Steve, asking you kind of a big picture philosophical question. What do you see as one of the premier leaders of a farm group here in the state of Nebraska, certainly a top producing ag state in the nation as well? What do you see as the big picture challenges that the American agriculture industry is going to be facing in the next decade or so?
Sure. Well, I think that, the list is fairly long. And if at one time, probably when I was younger and maybe first getting involved with Farm Bureau, I thought, well, if we do things right, we can maybe solve or fix all of the problems, and then we can quit going to meetings and we can just stay home and farm. That would have been naive if I would have thought that, and in a serious way. But certainly, I think that there are challenges there that continue and relate in one way or another to the fact that more and more people are less connected to where their food comes from, less connected to the farm. And so we have a challenge in agriculture to communicate our issues and the importance of our issues. We know what we do is very important, and there's a high calling that we have to produce food for our families, for people in our state, and for people in our nation, and people around the world. But a lot of the folks that consume that food don't understand that, particularly here in the United States. And so as we work to pass laws and regulations related to agriculture, one of our big challenges is for elected leaders and the general public to understand the realities of what happens on farms and ranches. That whole scenario that I lay out is not something new, but it is certainly a continuing issue. I think that, and so the role for organizations like Nebraska Farm Bureau will continue to be there to serve farmers and ranchers and well into the future. At the same time, I think there's great opportunities in agriculture. If you think about the technologies that are there today, whether it's related to GMOs or seeds or equipment, any myriad of things, the opportunities are just boundless. And when you think about the ability to use social media and to contact and be in contact with those around us, whether that's communicating about issues or whether that's selling a product that we grow on our farms that we know is the best that there is of that particular product, the opportunity to promote that via social media today and to reach from the farm all around the world is just amazing to me. And so, while I know there's challenges, I think there's great opportunities, and certainly look forward to the future. I'll kind of close here with the saying that I've liked to use, and you've maybe heard me say it before, but I've said this for a long time. If we do what's right for young farmers and ranchers, the rest of us will be fine. I truly believe that, and so that has to be the goal of Farm Bureau or any organization moving in the future is to help make life better for young farmers and ranchers. If we do that, the rest of us will be fine.
Well, Steve, you've always been generous with your time sharing it with our radio stations here at the Nebraska Rural Radio Association. I'm sure this is not the last time we'll talk to you, as you have a few more months before you'll officially round out your term as president of the Nebraska Farm Bureau. But I do want to say thank you for always being generous with your time and making time for us.
Absolutely, and certainly appreciate what you do at all of the stations around the state of Nebraska.
Nebraska Farm Bureau President Steve Nelson joining us. I'm Bryce Doeschot on the Rural Radio Network.